stripes in my soul. Steel toes on, boots in the gravel, heartland truth on every channel. Open Bible, flag on the wall. We say what we believe when we don't talk at all. This is red, white, and raise hell. Cowboy hat, church bell, can't scare us into silence. We were born to rebel from the back road to the beltway. We won't fade, we won't fail. Proud, loud, standing tall. Red, white, and raise hell. We back the badge, we guard the border. We love our guns and law and order. They try to shame every word we say, but we don't bow down, we just press play. This is red, white, and raise hell. Cowboy hat, church bell, can't scare us into silence. We were born to rebel from the back road to the bell. Hey, we won't fade, we won't fail. Proud, loud, standing tall. Red, white, and raise hell.
All right, that's problematic. Camera switched on me and I didn't even know it. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for being with us. It is a strictly speaking unfiltered Super Bowl Monday morning. Post Super Bowl, what did you think? And you know I'm not asking you a bit about the game because I couldn't tell you anything about it. Let me get the music turned down just a little bit here for you. I don't know what's going on with the vibes they're giving us lately when I start the show or end the show, but some of them are better than others. Some of these AI vibes that they give you that stop me from getting sued for or getting hit with copyright violations with real music. Some of them are good, some of them are crappy. That's another crappy one as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, there it is. So post Super Bowl Monday morning, and we've got reactions. Again, not to the game because I watched, I don't know, grand total maybe 10, 15 plays in the game for lots of reasons that we talk about. First of all, I don't like either team. I especially hate the team that won because it's not really the team as much as the city. It's Seattle. They just elected a socialist. The mayor, the fan base there, they're the ones who, basically set up that autonomous zone in the Abolish the Police movement of 2020. They hate this country. They are just so far radically left as it gets. They may have surpassed San Francisco or Berkeley or Portland as maybe the most radically left city in the country. And I don't like the idea that they're going to have a Super Bowl parade. So there you go. So I didn't really care who won from that standpoint. I would like to, I guess if I had to pick some team, I would have picked the team called Patriots because that's what we are. But like I said, then that would have meant that the lunatic left in Boston won. So it was really kind of a, whatever for me there anyway, other than the fact that it was an event and everybody in the whole country was doing it at the same time to one extent or another. My wife and I watched an episode of one of our favorite series that we've been into. So in the middle of it, the other parts of it, we just were kind of, it had it on in the background, but we're watching it. I probably watched 15 plays, I would say maximum, especially because it wasn't much of a game anyway. But when I say post Super Bowl Monday, I'm talking more specifically now about, obviously, the halftime show. The one that they aired on NBC and the one that Turning Point aired and crushed all expectations, hopes, beliefs in what they might be able to do. Oh my gosh, Turning Point USA put on a show, and we're going to talk about it. We're also going to have for you a little bit later on in the second hour, we're going to have Brigitte, because Brigitte Gabriel sat down with me finally and spoke with me on Thursday. It's not that she was avoiding it. As a matter of fact, she was greatly and genuinely enthusiastic about doing an interview with me about the threat of radical Islam in America. But we had two different roadblocks that got in the way prior to scheduling things. It's irrelevant. And tech things, it's irrelevant really. But the point is we did it. And on Thursday night, I put that out there for unfiltered insiders to be able to watch and listen to over the weekend by themselves. It was exclusive. It was part of the exclusive content or first dibs content that we give to our Locals followers. So if you are not a Locals follower yet and a paid supporter of the show, what I like to call unfiltered insiders, get there because we're going to give you exclusive things. By the way, town hall meeting number 2, strategy session number 2 is going to be Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. Just like we had week number 1, that'll be also for unfiltered insiders. And those who were there know that this is important stuff. And I'm literally consulting with you to figure out how to go forward in a lot of things. This is where like I said, it's kind of like the war room. The show is the show. It is, kind of like, where things happen. But the Locals community and the unfiltered insiders, that's the war room where things are decided as far as what happens. It is the 9th morning of the 2nd month in the year of our Lord 2026. Our flip day calendar, or our flip calendar, a quoted day calendar. A single conversation across the table with a wise man is worth a month's study of books. That is a Chinese proverb. Wait, why am I flipping? It's not, day's not over yet. But there you go. I like to share those with you each and every morning. I get some good inspiration from these things. I got inspiration yesterday from Turning Point, and I needed it. I needed what we saw and what we heard, honestly, from that crew. In fact, I'll be honest with you, because I don't know. I'm not as dialed into a lot of music maybe as I used to be, especially more modern music. I'm a creature of my age, and the music that resonates most with me is the music that I grew up with. So I knew some of the names, but not some of the music from Lee Brice and from Gabby Barrett and from Brantley Gilbert. I knew a little bit more from Kid Rock because he's my age and he's been banging around doing the stuff since the 90s. But as far as some of the other generations, I didn't really know what to expect from Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett. But I'll tell you what, I was absolutely amazed. And I was so proud, not just that they did a concert that took us away from this NFL middle finger, which is what it was, an NFL and Bad Bunny middle finger to the country. They literally did the polar opposite. They just did Americana from start to finish. It was a pre-recorded show that they put on, obviously. You could see that. And that's okay. I didn't care. It was amazing. I would rather watch the pre-recorded version of them singing live in a small auditorium of supporters. I would rather watch that than live, America hate. And I'm sorry. I'll get there. I'm sorry. That's what Bad Bunny did. Now, I didn't watch it, obviously, live. I was going to rely on the internet, which I did last night and this morning, to see what people said about what Bad Bunny did. All right? Like maybe a lot of other people. If you watched Turning Point, you couldn't watch the other one. So you had to check in on it and see what happened. And once I found out what happened, I was more convinced than ever that I was, it was God maybe moving in a weird direction and saying, I'm going to give people an alternative to that. And I'm going to give them a place where some people are going to glorify this country that I have blessed. And I'm going to give some, give people an opportunity to glorify my son, Jesus Christ. I'm not going to preach. I'm not qualified to preach. Although I talked to somebody who is qualified to preach yesterday, who gave me some really, 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 really great information that'll come up on another day. I believe it was shared with me somewhat in confidence, so I will not betray the person. But somebody else who's qualified to preach gave me some good stuff. So I can't preach, but I can tell you what I enjoyed. And what I enjoyed last night was the alternative to the Anti-American Fest. And the Anti-American Fest was pretty much punctuated by the fact that 90% of America couldn't understand a word of it. Right? Nothing else shows the middle finger to the people of the country quite like, I know you can't understand it, and that's how I want it. To hell with you. I didn't watch it, but I didn't need to know what it was going to sound like if it was all done in Spanish, which it was. And this is not a complaint or an insult or anything else to Spanish speakers. In our country, if you're bilingual, or just a Spanish speaker, I got a problem if you're just a Spanish speaker. You're in the United States. English is our actual national language. Don't tell me it isn't. It was actually declared so in an executive order by the President of the United States. The fact that it wasn't codified is irrelevant. It is. It is, and it always has been, and it always shall be. And if you want to come here, you should assimilate and learn our language. So to the Spanish-only speakers, I have nothing against you other than I really wish you would try to get along with us and be a part of us and absorb our culture, okay? Or actually absorb into our culture. If you're bilingual, like I said, you could enjoy, the All-American show as well as what the Spanish speaker was doing, fine, but that's a very, very, very small percentage of you. And this Bad Bunny character, Bad Bunny is bilingual. He could speak English. In fact, he did speak English when he told the Grammy crowd and the American people watching it, F ICE. Okay? He knows how to speak English. He could have sung in English, and he could have made it something wholesome and something inviting and something welcoming. What does the left like to say? What do they like to create? They like to create inclusive communities. Isn't that a part of DEI? DIE? Isn't it diversity, inclusion, and equity? He could have been inclusive and said, yeah, we're going to sing it in English because that's what I want, 100 million people to watch. I don't know how many people actually watch Super Bowl, not 100 million, but you get the point. But no, he chose to speak only in Spanish for two reasons. One, as a big middle finger to the American people, and number two, as a statement about ICE, like he did at the Grammys. He knows, and we all know, that the majority of illegal aliens, especially the criminal illegal aliens that are being targeted by immigration customs and enforcement, the overwhelming majority of them are Spanish speakers because they come from Central American countries, Latin American countries, South American countries, at least one North American country, Mexico, and he knows full well. That doesn't, now we all know that the Biden invasion, the one that he literally facilitated intentionally and knowingly, well, his people did knowingly. I don't know if he knew where he was, but what they did brought people from around 160 different countries in that were counted. 160 different countries represented in the Biden invasion, but the overwhelming majority of them, while a lot of them did come from the Middle East, a lot of them came from Asia, a lot of them from China, to be specific. The overwhelming majority came from Spanish-speaking countries. That's just the reality. So what he did was making a statement without saying it out loud, that this is my support for the illegal alien community and my hatred for law enforcement, the law enforcement community that is trying to get them out. That's why he sang to them and told the rest of us. And he told us 4 months ago this was going to happen. He told us back in September or October, whatever it was, when it was announced that he was going to be the halftime performer. He said, you've got 4 months to learn my language, because I'm not giving it to you in your language. What brand does that? What is the NFL thinking when they do something like that? That's why this was one of the first articles I read. And it's kind of why I named my this episode what I did. As you can see, the title of this episode is TPUSA to the Rescue, Love for America Revived. And I put it in the first paragraph. Bad Bunny gave a big middle finger to America. And I borrowed that from this headline from Red State. And I'm going to share it with you real quick here because I think it's accurate. It's what it was. Yeah, there it is. It was a big middle finger to the United States for all the reasons that I just laid out. And I'll dig into this just a little bit. It's got some of the responses here. By the way, that picture there, it's misleading, obviously. This is a stock photo from Prince when he did the most amazing halftime show ever. And I don't know if anybody has ever challenged that, to be truthful. Prince was just incredible when he did his, in the rain, by the way. Not purple, but it rained. Anyway, but that's just kind of a photo that they attached to the story here. The NFL hasn't much cared what conservatives or anyone else who actually likes America thinks in a long time, and they just emphasized that with Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show, which was even worse than we thought it would be. Heading up the performance, the predictable cries of racist were screamed at anyone who had a problem with his selection, but it wasn't that Bad Bunny sings in a language other than English. It's his hatred for the United States of America, and that is exactly correct. And that's why he did this entire thing in Spanish, because screw you, English-speaking America, which is all of America. Screw you is what the message was here. He did not speak English at all until the very end when he mockingly said, God bless America, and then proceeded to list what? A whole bunch of countries other than America, but rather the Americas, if you will, as in South America, Latin America, Central American countries. That's what he did. And again, it was a nod to the illegal aliens. That's what this whole thing was about. And in fact, I could probably, if you want to see this part of it, I guess just to kind of give you evidence of what I'm.
God bless America. Sea Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, Perú, Ecuador, Brasil, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Panamá, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, México, Cuba, República Dominicana.
You can hear him, thick accent and all. You can hear the nations that he is listing, all of the Central American, Latin American, South American countries, everything but actual America, the United States thereof. So even his little closing thing, as you can see him marching with all of his flags behind him, the American flag is among a whole bunch of other flags, basically saying that it is not about the United States of America, but the Americas. And those are many of the countries that have invaded this country illegally that he, of course, is backing and siding with. That's what this whole thing was all about. And it was not lost on most people what he was trying to do. Kira Davis, the Super Bowl halftime show is most definitely a slap in the face to America on purpose. Shame on the NFL. Shame on you. We shamed the NFL. Like I said, back in September, whenever it was that we first, found out this was going to happen. Is that a little better for you to see, by the way? And maybe it's a little larger there for you. We did. We knew that. We told you what this was at the time, especially because he was about the only saving grace is there. He didn't do his cross-dressing routine. He didn't do the show in drag with a bunch of trans queens up there at the same time, which I expected him to do because we've all seen his videos in which he dresses in drag and performs. Whatever. I thought that was going to happen, but at this time, he just did a little bit more of a subtle middle finger to the American people by not speaking in the language they spoke. Allie Beth Stuckey, doing an entire show at an iconic American event in a language most of the country does not understand is a humiliation ritual. I agree, 100%. And then Kira Davis followed that with Allie Beth is right. That's exactly what it felt like. I told my husband, this is a flag planting. It didn't feel like a cultural experience. It felt rude. I don't know how else to describe it. It felt like the NFL telling the average American to F off. And that is exactly what it did. That's exactly what it was. That was why Red State called it a big middle finger. And they're right. If you walk into a party filled with people of one particular ethnicity, and then you go out there and make a grand spectacle of yourself, intentionally separating yourself and not speaking their language and not trying to adapt to what's going on in the room or in the auditorium or whatever, it would be considered rude. Well, this performer, with the willing assent and approval of the National Football League, walked into our nationwide Super Bowl party and did things that we couldn't understand and saying, we don't like you. We are going to do things our way, things that appeal to us in our language, and we're going to subtly take shots at you for not understanding us and for not welcoming people in these other Americas. It was exactly what was described there. Alex Berenson, I think support for ICE just went up 20 points. I can tell you, I mean, I was already 100% in on ICE, but if I could go to 120 because of that, okay, I'm down. I watched the Bad Bunny halftime show looking for what he might say or do. I'm Puerto Rican, and I didn't understand half of what came out of his mouth, so I'm still not sure. And by the way, Puerto Rico is an American territory. If you're flexing, the injustices done against, illegal immigrants in the United States, and Puerto Rico is your flag you're bearing, no, they're welcome here. They're American not citizens, but yeah, I mean, they're non-voting citizens. They're part of an American territory. So guess what? That fell flat too. Charles Gasparino, Bad Bunny sucked, but you knew that already. I peeked in during TPUSA show, which was really good. Bad Bunny plays to a nation the left wants, but most of the nation doesn't. Shame on NFL commish for taking this great game into AOC territory. Well said. And then, of course, there was the reaction from the boss. President Trump could not wait. The halftime show had barely completed before he took to Truth Social and laid it out. President Trump, quote, "The Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever. It makes no sense, is an affront to the greatness of America, and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. This show is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market and 401ks in history. There is nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show, and watch, it will get great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue of what is going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule. Make America great again. President Donald J. Trump." So President Trump holding court and laying it out for everybody with respect to the halftime show. Yeah, so there. Oh, and he wasn't done, by the way. Also, over the weekend, President Trump responding. I threw this story up on as one of the items in the Strictly Speaking This Week newsletter. And if you're not subscribing to the Strictly Speaking newsletter yet, you really, really need to do that, because I'm putting a lot of great content out there every single Sunday morning at 10 a.m. when it comes out. And I say that, I know that sounds a little bit braggadocious, but I say it just because I want to inspire you to subscribe. First of all, it's free. Second of all, it's valuable. I think it's valuable anyway. But yesterday morning, I did put this out, the Strictly Speaking This Week newsletter, in which, for newbies, I give you 5 things to know, a video highlight of the week, and then 5 things to do that week. And on Sunday yesterday, one of the 5 things to do, I'm going to scroll down to it, was be careful who you root for at the Olympics, if you're watching the Olympics at all. If wearing a USA across your chest feels like a burden instead of an honor, then you don't deserve the platform that comes with it. In a shameful display at the Winter Olympics, several American athletes have trashed their own country on the world stage, whining about mixed emotions over representing the U.S. amid rightful ICE enforcement against illegal immigration. Some skier I've never heard of before, named Hunter Hess, said it was a little hard to wear the flag because he's not the biggest fan of, quote, what's happening at home. And Chris Lillis, who I guess is also a singer, said everything that's going on in the U.S. makes him heartbroken. And somebody else, they're all whining and complaining again about what's going on, which is the media's portrayal of what's happening with respect to ICE. And there's the Strictly Speaking logo. Let me throw this up super quick. If you're watching on a screen right now, meaning a laptop screen or a computer screen, and you have another device with you, like your phone, there's the QR code. All right, I'll just put this up there for, 20 seconds. So you can get your phone and scan that QR code. That will take you to a sign-up page for Strictly Speaking This Week, which is the newsletter that I put out each and every Sunday. It's something that, like I said, I put a lot of work into, because I find it important for you to be able to share the things that you need to know, and share with other people who just don't get it, and who maybe don't watch our podcast and don't read the right things and find the right truth, that the mainstream media hides from you. So that's one of the reasons I do the newsletter, and I think it's valuable and it's important. And you can see it on your screen right now. So scan that. I'll take that down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But anyway, that's the Strictly Speaking This Week. So back to President Trump. President Trump had some words for the skier as well. And where did it come from here? Here it is. U.S. Olympic skier Hunter Hess, a real loser. Just don't, don't sugarcoat it, President Trump. Don't pull any punches, good sir. A real loser says he doesn't represent his country in the current Winter Olympics. If that's the case, he shouldn't have tried out for the team, and it's too bad he's on it. Very hard to root for someone like this. Make America great again. And I could not agree more. I could not agree more. And I don't want to dive into this too much. He doesn't deserve our time and our attention. All right. I guess I'll give him this much time and attention if you want to hear him actually say what Trump and I were talking about.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. If it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S.
Now, you know why President Trump said what he said. It's hard for him to wear the flag because of everything that's going on in the U.S. You mean American sovereignty? American law and order? Is that what you're saying? Is you don't feel represented by the fact that American citizens are standing up for America and not allowing themselves to be overrun? Is that what we're talking about here? What's his name? Hunter? Is that what you're talking about here? So I think it's important that we tell the truth about what is actually going on here. So what I want to do now is I want to take just a moment to say thank you to somebody. Very, very, very important. I want to say thank you to, let me get this off the screen for a second, if I may. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get that off the screen, and we're going to put this on the screen. Because I want to say thank you to one of our new foundational sponsors, foundational partners for Strictly Speaking Unfiltered. All right. I told you what we were building, and I told you that I needed help to build it. And I told you I was going to recognize people and companies and organizations that got on board, people who came in early when it's that, because we're just still in the growth phase, and we're in the infancy phase of this show. It's, I don't know, 30 or 40 days old. We're about 30, 40 shows in, maybe. And it takes a lot for somebody to say, I like what I'm seeing and I love the direction, and we can help build it into something bigger and better that's going to help move people, influence people, and inspire people to do things that are going to help us protect and preserve the republic and our own communities. So I'm going to feature and say thank you in a big, big way to companies and sponsors that become partners of this effort that we are engaging in right now. And the first one to step up in a huge way is Americans for Prosperity. And so I'm proud to say to you that today's episode is brought to you in part by one of our foundational partners, Americans for Prosperity. I've been working with Donovan O'Neill and AFP for a very long time now, and I absolutely love their mission. Ohio, this state has everything it takes to lead the nation, but we need the right policies to get there. And the Buckeye Blueprint is what they're calling this mission. It's focused on building a bolder, better Buckeye state, moving Ohio from being the middle of the Midwest, which we are, to number one in the country for economic freedom, for education opportunity, energy abundance, and a government that works for the people. If you believe Ohio can do better, then join us and take action at BuckeyeBlueprint.com. That's BuckeyeBlueprint.com. So thank you, AFP. Thank you, Donovan. Thank you, team, for stepping up and standing up and becoming a huge, huge part of what we are building. And we are going to have room for just 4 more foundational sponsors. All right. And foundational means at the level that we're talking about. We are going to have other sponsors who have already stepped up, like my friend Mark King, who's doing huge things for us as well. In fact, Mark was the first guy to the table saying, I want to support your show and I want to reach your audience. And so thank you to Mark. I'm going to be thanking foundational sponsors and sponsors every single step of the way. And I've got some real, real great people. But to business owners and organization directors like AFP, for example, this is a train you want to get on while it's still at the station, because once it starts roaring, it is going to be really, really hard to catch up to. So if you want to get in, please, we would love you to get in. All right. Now, I gave you all of the Bad Bunny, bad stuff, and all of the bad news and all of the crap and President Trump's response to it and everything else. But what was happening on the other channel? what was happening on multiple other channels? And the answer is, well, multiple other answers. Some are saying 6 million. Some are saying 10 million. Some are saying as many as 15 million, depending on what site you're looking at. People flipped the channel away from the Super Woke Bowl and at halftime watched Kid Rock and some of the most talented people that I've seen in a very long time. Again, people I was not terribly familiar with because they're more modern music. I love country music, don't get me wrong, but it's just, modern music is, I said this at the top, I'm a creature of my generation. I mean, the music I listened to growing up was 80s music and then 90s music. And I've absorbed a ton of the 70s and a little bit of the 60s too. So I'm not as flipped on to if I'm in the car, I'm not flipping on pop stations for modern music. So, although sometimes the country stations. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here, it was incredible. Turning Point USA managed to make millions of Americans flip over and say, this is what I'm watching during halftime. And what we saw was extraordinary. I would play you a lot of it, but that would kind of defeat our purpose. We have a lot of things to talk about here ourselves. So I'm going to play just one part of it. And it was so funny. After Kid Rock, we had the first three performances, that we were talking about a little bit earlier, the performances by Lee Brice and Brantley Gilbert and Gabby Barrett preceded Kid Rock come busting out with old school early 90s Kid Rock. And then they stopped, because this was a pre-produced show. They stopped, and then one of the other performers said, ladies and gentlemen, well, you're going to watch it right now. And he introduced Robert Ritchie. And my wife and I looked at each other and said, who? What happened to Kid Rock? He's only going to do one song? What, are you kidding? That's terrible. Unbeknownst to many, Robert Ritchie is Kid Rock. And when he came out as himself, he did this performance, which was just simply astounding. And this is the one I am going to share with you. And I think it's worth all 5 minutes and 13 seconds of our show this morning that I'm about to spend on it. Because if you did not see it, you should. That's why we're doing this. Here we go.
You can tell your old man you'll do some largemouth fishing another time. You got too much on your plate to bait and cast a line. You can always put a rain check in his hand till you can't, till you can't. You can keep putting on forever with that girl whose heart you hold, swearing that you'll ask someday further down the road. You can always put a diamond on her hand till you can't, till you can't. If you got a chance, take it. Take it while you got a chance. If you got a dream, chase it, 'cause a dream won't chase you back. If you're gonna love somebody, hold them as long and as strong and as close as you can. Until you can't, till you can't. Now there's a box of greasy parts sitting in the trunk of that 65, still waiting on you and your grandpa to bring it back to life. You can always get around to fixing up that old Pontiac as strong and as close as you can. Take care. Take care. You know, I awoke one Sunday morning all alone with this song stuck in my head. And in that moment, something or someone spoke to me. They said there was still a verse that needed to be written for this song, and to get up and write it down. There's a book that's sitting in your house somewhere that could use some dusting off. There's a man who died for all our sins, hanging from the cross. You can give your life to Jesus, and he'll give you a second chance till you can't. Take care. If you got a chance, take it. Take it while you got a chance. If you got a dream, chase it, 'cause a dream won't chase you back. If you're gonna love somebody, hold them as long and as strong and as close as you can. Till you can. Till you can. If you got a chance, take it. Take it while you got a chance. If you got a dream, chase it, 'cause a dream won't chase you back. If you're gonna love somebody, hold on as long and as strong and as close as you can. Till you can. Until you can. Until you can. Until you can.
That was that was so much better than I imagined it would be, and I didn't really know what to expect. I knew they were going to do Americana. I knew they were going to do songs that were going to be literally the opposite of what the Super Bowl was putting on with this Bad Bunny, F you to America. But I didn't know I was going to get that. I didn't know I was going to get something almost of a revival. I mean, it was kind of that like that. It had that vibe to it, when he started preaching about the Bible and started preaching about, what this country is missing, and we've got to dust that book off. I don't know. And I'll be honest with you too. Like I said, the other performers that I didn't really have a ton of experience with, I was blown away too by Brantley Gilbert and Lee Brice and Gabby Barrett too, but especially Brantley Gilbert for whatever reason. I just thought that was incredible too. But that was the kind of pride that I think we needed to see put on display for all to see. As one channel, the Super Bowl channel, puts on this, hey, we hate you, America. We are singing in a language that 95% of you do not speak or understand. We don't care. This is for us. This is for our little core, including and especially the illegal alien part of that crowd, because we know, their feelings about it. And so this anti-American sentiment, the Americas are what we care about, Latin America, Central America, South America, and so forth. While that's going on over here on the other side, anywhere between 6 and 15 million people, according to most of the estimates, watching across multiple platforms. I streamed it on Turning Point's YouTube channel. No, that's not true. Wait a minute. Yes, it is. We had that on my phone. I had it on the Rumble channel. Anyway, because on my TV, the smart TV, you can get YouTube, but you can't get Rumble, which is one of the problems I wish we could fix. So between 6 and 15 million people got together and said, "America, we love you." That was a love letter to America, is what you heard, at a time when other people are trashing America from within our own borders. And that's just sad. All right. So let me pivot away from the Super Woke Bowl and get into the controversy of the weekend beyond the Super Bowl halftime show. It started on Friday and it continued into Saturday. And I also included this on the newsletter yesterday. that you got at 6 a.m. And again, please subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. I'll throw the QR code up there again in a moment. But I wrote about this too. It was one of the 5 things to know this week. And you should know, I got to go up here a little higher, sorry. One of the 5 things to know is that no, Trump did not post a racist image of the Obamas. Now I'm going to flash this on the screen here at the beginning so that I can then show you the story and tell you the full story. You're going to see an image here. I'm sorry, I got to put this back up for you. You're going to see this image, and it's going to indeed look like Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as apes. That's because that was what happened in a video. They wanted you to believe that the president of the United States made that or shared that and did so intentionally because he is a racist and it is playing into a trope, an old, trope and a slur against African Americans. As per usual, they are lying to you. No, President Trump did not post a racist image, no matter how much the left wants you to believe he did. The internet was on fire Friday and Saturday after a video post briefly appeared on President Trump's social media account, quickly screen captured, and blasted across X, the platform X, by Trump haters, claiming he depicted Barack and Michelle Obama as apes. What was deliberately buried was the actual context of what you just saw. Here's what actually happened. Trump's team posted a screen-recorded video about election fraud. Now, I'm going to play this so you can kind of see what we were talking about here. Let me share this screen with you. This was from the Trump account and the Trump team, and hopefully you can see this all right here.
Machine that counts the votes. A Telit 4G wireless chip manufactured in Taiwan was discovered embedded into the motherboard. The voting machine tapes clearly indicate modem engagement and transmission of election data. Some of the anomalies that we noticed in the 2020 general elections, that 5 key states all stopped counting at a certain time in these key battleground states. These were all where the software, Dominion machines, ESNS machines were used, the Smartmatic, the GEMS software. So when the vote stopped counting, and this has been noted in other countries as well, President Trump was significantly ahead. When reporting and counting resumed, there was a massive spike occurred that favored Joe Biden.
Okay, did you see it? Obviously you did. This was a video about election fraud. This was a video that President Trump saw, or not President Trump, President Trump's team saw and shared for him and on his account by way of a screen capture. Do you know what a screen capture is? Do you know how to screen record your phone? Okay, many people do. Dare I say most people do? I don't know if everybody in the audience does. I do it all the time on this phone. Okay. There's a button if you scroll down, at least on iPhone anyway. If you just kind of swipe down from the upper right, you're going to see a little red dot there, or actually it's a white dot, and you tap it and it will record whatever is happening on your screen. So if I see a video or something that I really want to record, I'll do that using that. And then as a video plays, typically on most of the video platforms, typically they're on autoplay. Once one video ends, the next one starts. Just like that. Okay. Once one ends, the next one starts. That's the nature of most of these platforms. Now, some of them, it'll actually be on repeat and the video you just watched will play again. It just depends on which platform. Okay. Which is why people doom scroll. So at the end of this video, that whoever it was for President Trump's team screen recorded this video about election fraud. When this video ended, the next video started, which was, and you can hear the start of that old song, The Lion Sleeps Tonight. So here it is again. That's it. Whoever shared this or screen recorded this for President Trump was sloppy as heck and did not clip it at the end and clip off the end of it. And it got uploaded. Okay. Hence all of the outrage. So let me go back now to the reality of this. The phone's feed auto played the next video on the platform, which was that video that you just heard. It's a video portraying multiple political figures as animals, with President Trump cast quite naturally as the lion king of the jungle. He gets to be the lion because he's king of the jungle. He's the president. And all of the president's enemies and opponents mostly were other animals. The Obamas were not singled out. There was no racial intent here, as evidenced by the fact that Joe Biden was also portrayed as an ape. Are you seeing this on your screen? Let me share this again. There's the image in the upper right. He was also portrayed as an ape. He's Joe Biden. As I wrote in the newsletter, he's so white he's damn near translucent. Okay, but he was portrayed as an ape. Meanwhile, his black vice president was portrayed, as you can see in the screen there, as a turtle. If the goal here is to make black people apes and portray and to advance a racist trope, why is Joe Biden an ape and Kamala Harris a turtle? And in case you didn't know, Whoopi Goldberg was there as well. Ape? Nope. Hippo. Kamala and Whoopi Goldberg are both black. So is, come to think of it, Hakeem Jeffries. None of them were portrayed as apes, but a white guy named Joe Biden was, as were the Obamas. Regardless, even though those truths, and I'm going to let you watch the whole video in a second, even though those things are true, it didn't matter because that was not the intent to post that video. The video that was posted was a different video about election fraud. And then the first half second or so, or whatever it was, of the next video was allowed to be tagged on at the end. And it starts with the Obamas in that scene. So the staffer was sloppy. And this is an entire example, as I wrote, of the smear machine, the modern smear machine that basically operates this way. You take a comment or clip, in this case, a video clip, completely absent context, and you scream racism, and you force Republicans to have to play defense like I'm doing right now, and then demand apologies from Trump. Fortunately, Trump wouldn't do it. Trump would not apologize because he said, no, we didn't do anything wrong. We didn't post that. I saw the beginning of it, he said, and it looked fine to me. That's because at the end of it, that's where that was. And he didn't post that. So don't buy the lie and call out every left-wing imbecile that is selling the lie. So for the purposes of complete transparency, I guess, whatever you want to call it, you can watch this video yourself. I'm going to play it for you right now and understand that this was not the video that Trump posted. I don't know who made the video. Oh, yeah, I guess I do. It's right there on the screen right now. Are you seeing? Hopefully you're seeing that. Let me double check, and because I can't see everything you're seeing at the same time. Okay. So it was made by somebody at Xerias, Sirius or Sirius or Xerius, however this person, whoever made this video, whatever they call themselves. But it's a 55-second video that features, again, the Obamas and a whole lot of other political figures. And some of them are apes, and some of them are white who are apes, and some of them are not, and who are black, who are other animals. So it's just a stupid little meme video set to a very popular song from back in the 60s. And here it is. Name all these. I feel like we should name all of these. There's Hakeem Jeffries. He's a meerkat, like from the Lion King. He's the meerkat character, not an ape. And then there's Hillary, who's a warthog, which is just all kind of appropriate as far as I'm concerned. There's AOC as one of the lead donkeys, and that looks like that's not supposed to be Gavin, is it, with his gray hair like that? But the face looks a little like Gavin Newsom, actually. Or is that Bill? Is that Bill? Is that Bill? That's Bill Clinton, I guess. Okay. JB Pritzker is an elephant, and pencil neck Adam Schiff is naturally a pencil-necked giraffe. Chuck Schumer is a zebra, and Zoltar Mamdani is a hyena. There's Kamala, a turtle. And the ape in the scene is Joe Biden, a translucent white man eating a banana. Hakeem Jeffries, the meerkat. And there's the king. I don't know who that one is. Anybody in the chat know who that is? Who's the pig on the fruit bowl there? I don't know. I can't place that face. Maybe for the better. I think that might be Harry Sisson, one of those little left-wing Gen Z loons. That might be who that is up here, the flamingo. And there's Hippo Whoopi. Whoopi, Hippo, Hippo, Whoopi. Down to the king. So as you can see, the entire so you can see the entire thing is mocking the left, mocking all of those Democrat political leaders, making them all animals, bowing down and worshiping at the feet of the Lion King, which of course is the President Trump. And this, of course, was probably made, I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing this was probably made around the time of the No Kings rallies. Just as a way of whoever this creator was to kind of stick the knife in and, twist it a little bit. Here is your king, the Lion King, king of the jungle, Donald Trump, and all of these animals. But all the left did was they tried to portray this whole thing over the weekend as some sort of a racist, video that Trump posted or Trump's team posted specifically to be racist. And they tried to also portray it as a still photo. Because let's see if I can find one of them where it's just that opening scene. That's the video there. But they paused it like this and then took a screenshot of that and posted it and said, in fact, where I first got the notification of this is my wife. My wife actually texted me and said, did Trump actually post a picture of the Obamas as an ape or as apes? Let me check my text here to see how she actually worded it. Oh, she just said, did Trump post this? And it's just a screenshot. It's a still photo. And I said, no, of course he wouldn't have posted that. And then I took a little look inside of it, and sure, she sent me a video or another link. And then sure enough, there it was. It was on the Trump account. But it wasn't a still photo, and Trump didn't post it. It was part of a video, obviously, that we just shared with you. And it was not unique to the Obamas, and it was not racist. Again, if it was, why would other black characters in the Democrat play have been other animals other than apes? And why would a white character have also been an ape? It just it makes no sense whatsoever. So it's just more of the manufactured outrage that the left likes to do. And they'll ride this for a couple of weeks probably. And they were on the Sunday shows talking about it. They're all over Blue Sky and they're all over CNN and NBC, and they're making every Republican play defense. And I'll admit, it works, because I'm sitting here as a conservative host of this show, and I'm playing defense. Because you need to know the truth. I spent a good deal of my time preparing yesterday's newsletter, writing this article and putting in the links and giving you the context and everything that needed to be done here, so you know that no, the president did not just call Barack and Michelle Obama apes. It just did not happen. So now you need to know. Again, why do we do what we do? So that you don't have to memorize everything we say on a show like this. I do the newsletter so that you can share it with other people. So if you did not yet subscribe to that newsletter, there it is again. Subscribe to it. Send me an email saying, Bob, sign me up for the newsletter. It's free. Comes once a week, and it's filled with information you need to share with other people. All right. So you can get out your phone right now if you're not watching on a phone. If you're watching on a computer screen, get out your phone and scan that QR code. It'll take you right to the subscription page. You just put in your name and your email address and you're in. And that goes directly to me, and I will then put you on, and my friend Dan, who helps me out with the distribution of Strictly Speaking This Week, Dan Ramada, great guy, great American. That'll be up there for, available for you to subscribe, and you'll get these every single Sunday. And then special issues. I'll occasionally put out some stuff during the week about this show if I've got a special guest and so forth. But scan that and sign up for Strictly Speaking This Week. That is a very important thing to do. All right, where do I want to move next? Oh, speaking of the meerkat, speaking of Hakeem Jeffries. He was out leading the charge yesterday for election fraud. The House Minority Leader, top Democrat among the loons in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, was on TV trying to explain why there should be no photo identification to vote and why you should not limit voting to only American citizens. He went on CNN, State of the Union, and he proceeded to make an argument that to this moment in time still defies sense and reason and logic. And I want to share this with you because it's being ramped up now. The pressure in the House, well, in the Senate, really, because the House already passed it, but it's being ramped up now, the pressure to get the SAVE Act passed so that we can indeed ensure that, let me switch this over, so we can indeed ensure that only American citizens are voting in American elections and only the people who have a photo identification proving they are who they say they are can cast those votes. It's about as simple. It's something that every other free nation in the world does. All right? Every other free nation does make sure that only their nation's citizens can vote, and they have to prove who they say they are. It's the only way to keep control. If you don't have that, you have Venezuela. If you don't have that, you have Cuba. You have places, socialist and communist places, where the dictators rig the votes and just kind of keep power forever. In the United States, we have our elections, and it's only for leadership, not just of the United States, but the entire world that's at stake. And the Democrats don't want those elections to be free and fair. They want them to be able to be manipulated and cheated, while in a classic tactic, an Alinsky tactic, while accusing the opponents of doing the same, of accusing the Republicans of wanting to rig the elections. Watch.
For example, but requiring basic ID in order to vote is really popular. A Pew poll from a few months ago showed 83% of Americans, including 71% of your fellow Democrats, support requiring an ID to vote. Why are they wrong?
I haven't said that they're wrong. We know that states are the ones who are empowered to conduct elections, and every state should be allowed to decide the best way to proceed to ensure that there's a free and fair election. Here in New York, there are, in fact, voter identification requirements. The question is that what Republicans are trying to do is to engage in clear and blatant voter suppression. They know that if there's a free and fair election in November...
Did he just say at the beginning of his response that I didn't say they were wrong? Now he's proceeding to tell you why 83% of Americans are wrong. And by the way, that's an old poll. That number is much, much higher. All right. The American people, overwhelmingly, as many as 9 in 10 want voter ID and also citizenship requirements to vote. She said, why are they wrong? I didn't say they were wrong. But by the way, here's all the reasons they're wrong.
They're going to lose. In fact, Republicans have been losing every single election since Donald Trump was sworn in January of last year, including most recently decisively in Texas, and of course
in a blue district in Texas where there was a blue representative before. Keep spinning, hack.
Losing all across the country, up and down the ballot in the November off-year elections,
in blue and blue only jurisdictions. Blue candidates won in blue jurisdictions. Shocking. And now that's why the Republicans want to engage in voter suppression. Listen, you stupid son of a Democrat. The American people are tired of cheating. It's why Trump's team was playing that video, by the way, that, the real video before the stupid meme video came up. It was about election fraud. The American populace is tired of seeing Democrats steal elections. Georgia is in a very, very, very precarious place right now because they have descended, has the DOJ, on Georgia and Fulton County in particular, where they rigged the election for Joe Biden back in 2020. That's just a straight up fact. And more information is coming out about the irregularities and all of the blatant manipulation of the vote in Georgia. And the fact that, again, also in that 2020 election, nobody has any idea whose ballots, and all of these things were caught on video in Dinesh D'Souza's film, stuffing just stacks of ballots into the unmonitored drop boxes, but surveillance cameras caught them, stuffing them late at night at like 2 a.m. as if a whole bunch of people all just were actually sitting around filling out their ballots. And 25 or 50 different people are like, hey, will you run these to the Dropbox for us? Sure, I'll be happy to at 2 a.m. And all of these were legitimate votes. If you have to prove that who you are, if you have to prove you are who you say you are with a photo identification, you can't do that anymore. If you get rid of unmonitored drop boxes and unlimited mail-in voting, and you limit it only to absentee voting for military personnel and people who are working overseas at the time of elections and things of that nature, the Democrats can't cheat. And most importantly, if you have to prove you're a citizen before somebody will register you to vote. For example, in these motor voter states where you get to go and register for your driver's license, you want to register to vote too? Sure. Well, how do you know they're a citizen? They're not. They don't get to ask. So Hakeem Jeffries, again, just spinning the yarn, the lie, the tale, telling the tall tale that it's the Republicans who are trying to suppress the vote, not the fact that the Democrats are trying to manipulate and cheat the vote.
Places like New Jersey or Virginia or New York.
Yeah, and they've been losing. I mean, Virginia is a good example. They have a requirement to show your ID, and Democrats won very, very handily across the way. So why not maybe even just take that off the table and say, okay, maybe not a passport or birth certificate, but show ID?
Well, first of all, every state is empowered to be able to make the decision on their own, and we completely and totally support that. What Donald Trump wants
because what you support, you lying prick, is that some states, your blue states, aren't going to do it. So you get to cheat. You get to cheat. Why don't you just say it out loud? Say it out loud, hack. You can't win without cheating. Your policies are so unpopular. It's why you got swamped in the 2024 election. You can't win without cheating. Say it out loud. You know you want to. Say it out loud. Well, the states are perfectly empowered to do that. Yeah, and they're also perfectly empowered to let illegal aliens cheat the elections. That's the bottom line. It's why you will not call for not only photo ID, but again, registration proof that you are an American citizen. How many Somalis do you want to freaking pollute the vote?
do is try to nationalize the election. Translation, steal it. And we're not going to let it happen. We stopped them in terms of their gerrymandering efforts, where they were going to try to redraw congressional maps in red states throughout the nation, not expect Democrats to respond forcefully, and try to...
Massachusetts doesn't have a single Republican representative in the entire freaking Congress. Tell me some more about gerrymandering, hack. Tell me more. There's no Republican enclave anywhere in all of Massachusetts that deserves some representation in Congress. Tell me more about gerrymandering. California has something like 40% Republicans. They have like 5% Republican representation in Congress. Tell me more about gerrymandering. These people are unconscionable, anti-American, pro-globalist hacks. Every one of them. Hakeem Jeffries is saying it out loud, and in true Alinsky tactics, or Alinsky-like tactics, trying to say it's the Republicans who are trying to steal the election. The ones who want actual true transparency, only Americans get to vote, and once you get registered to vote, only people with their photo ID get to vote. And do we have to go through it again about how incredibly bigoted and racist and biased it is to suggest that people of color have a harder time getting ID than people who are white? That bigotry of low expectations that I and so many others, Wesley Hunt, Congressman Wesley Hunt and others talked about. It's exactly what it is. He's suggesting that if you have to get an ID, that's voter suppression because it's a little bit tougher for black people to navigate things like, I don't know, a BMV. How embarrassing.
The midterms, they failed. We've stopped Donald Trump from being able to federalize the National Guard, which we believe was probably part of some toxic attempt to unleash troops on American cities all across the nation and intimidate people from voting. And we're going to stop him from nationalizing the election. This is going to be a free and fair election. It's going to be conducted like every other election where states and localities have the ability
to cheat, you stupid son of a bitch. To cheat. That's exactly what you want. It's exactly what you are calling for. Say it out loud, hack. It's just so extraordinarily frustrating to listen to. Now look at this. I got Snickers upset. My cat's bouncing around my feet down here. She's a comfort cat. She thinks if I'm upset, she needs to jump on my lap or something. Go away, Snacks. All right. But that's the bottom line with this. If we're not careful, they will do absolutely what it sounds like, what we said they would do. They will cheat. And the SAVE Act absolutely must pass. I don't know if it's going to pass. I do know that it absolutely has to pass. And before I do anything else, I want to get back up here and I want to remind you about one of my other tremendous supporters and sponsors. Mark King and Keeping Medicare Simple is doing such an incredible job of supporting this show. He was there literally from the beginning. He was so angry and so livid when this show was stolen, when it was on corporate radio, when it was stolen. He said, I'm coming to advertise with you. Then he found out that they owed him a whole bunch of radio spots on the corporate side, by the way. And he said, okay, he's still going to play his spots there, but he wanted me to record them. So he's paying me to record the spots on the station from which my show was stolen, which is just a next level loyalty. Next level loyalty. Thank you, Mark King. And let me tell you about his company, because I've been telling you about it for over 5 years now, because Mark is such an amazing guy and with such an amazing business. We're talking about Keeping Medicare Simple. So if you're on Medicare, and if you ever find yourself confused by your coverage, you are not alone. Medicare can be complicated, and the wrong information or no information at all can cost you time, money, and peace of mind. And that's why Mark King is my guy. And I've known Mark for years. And I've confidently referred Medicare recipients to him time and time again because he puts people first and he explains Medicare in plain English. Mark takes the time to help you understand how Medicare works, what coverage you already have, and what options might be available to you based on your individual needs. There's no pressure, there's no confusion, there's no rushed decisions. Just honest guidance from somebody who's been in this game for nearly 40 years, who knows the system inside and out. So if you're unsure about your doctors, your prescriptions, or your overall Medicare coverage, Mark is your go-to guy. Call that number you see on the screen, 440-832-8936 to get an appointment. That's 440-832-8936. And for very clear and easy to understand information, the website is very user-friendly. It's keepingmedicaresimple.com. keepingmedicaresimple.com. When it comes to Medicare questions, I trust Mark King, and I am here to tell you that you can too. All right. He's still there. All right. Let's get rid of him and let's bring on somebody who's easier to look at and somebody who is much, much easier to listen to. And that, of course, is Brigitte Gabriel. I posted this because I did this, and I'm trying to find the link. We're going to play this from our locals page. Yeah, here it is. Brigitte Gabriel, I recorded this interview with her on Thursday night when we finally were able to make our schedules match up. And then we immediately posted it and made it available to our Unfiltered insiders. That means paid supporters of the locals community. So if you're not yet on the locals community, by the way, you need to get there. Click the join button underneath the screen that you're looking at right now on Rumble, okay? If you're on Rumble. If you're watching on YouTube, I was supposed to cut this feed a little while ago and I didn't. But I should probably do that now. So if you are watching on YouTube, we're going to go ahead and ask you to migrate over to Rumble so that you can be a part of the group chat there as well. That would be amazing if you did that. And then also bookmark it so that you come back to it each and every day, because this is the hub. That's what Rumble is. Rumble is the hub. So to YouTube followers who want to hear the interview with Brigitte Gabriel, switch over now because we're going to start it in